Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Storytime History and Technology. Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that the company everyone believed was unbeatable was suddenly losing everything. A company so powerful that nearly every person you knew owned one of its products. A company whose phones were famous for surviving drops, water, and years of daily use. A company that controlled the mobile phone industry and seemed destined to rule forever. But then, almost overnight, everything began to change. The world moved forward. Technology evolved. New competitors appeared. And the king of mobile phones slowly lost its crown. How can a company go from being the most successful phone maker on Earth to fighting for survival? How can a business that once dominated the world fail to see danger coming? And what lessons can we learn from one of the most dramatic falls in technology history? Stay with me, because today's story is full of ambition, success, mistakes, competition, and lessons that still matter today. But before we begin, if you enjoy simple and fascinating stories about history, technology, famous people, and world-changing events, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we explore incredible true stories that shaped the world we live in today. Now, let's travel back more than 150 years to a time before smartphones, before computers, and even before telephones. Because the story of Nokia did not begin with technology. It began beside a quiet river in Finland. In 1865, a young engineer named Frederick Idestam started a paper mill. His goal was simple: make paper and build a successful business. There was no sign that this small company would one day become one of the most famous technology brands in the world. The business grew steadily. A second mill was built near a river called Nokia, and eventually the company took its name from that location. For decades, Nokia had nothing to do with mobile phones. Produced paper, rubber products, and cables. It was a traditional industrial company, not a technology giant. But Nokia had one important habit. It was willing to change. As the world entered the 20th century, technology began transforming society. Electricity spread across countries. Communication networks expanded. New opportunities appeared everywhere. Nokia slowly moved into electronics and telecommunications. At first, these were small parts of the business. But over time, company leaders realized something important. The future belonged to communication. During the 1980s, mobile technology was still new. The first mobile phones were large, expensive, and mostly used by business executives. Some were so heavy they had to stay inside cars. Most people could not imagine a future where everyone carried a phone in their pocket. But Nokia could. The company invested heavily in mobile communication networks and wireless technology. While others hesitated, Nokia moved forward. It was a decision that would change everything. As mobile networks improved, phones became smaller and more affordable. More people started buying them. Demand exploded. Nokia was ready. Throughout the 1990s, the company focused on making phones that were reliable, simple, and easy to use. Customers loved them. The buttons were easy to understand. The menus were simple. The batteries lasted a long time. And the phones worked when people needed them. That may sound obvious, but reliability became Nokia's superpower. Millions of people trusted the brand. Families trusted it. Businesses trusted it. Students trusted it. By the late 1990s, Nokia was becoming a global phenomenon. Then came the phone that would become a legend. The Nokia 3310. Released in 2000, the Nokia 3310 was not the most advanced phone in the world. It did not have a touchscreen. It did not have social media. It did not have a powerful camera. But it had something people valued even more: dependability. The phone seemed almost indestructible. People dropped it on concrete floors. People accidentally stepped on it. People carried it everywhere. And it kept working. Stories about the Nokia 3310 spread around the world. Some stories were exaggerated, of course, but they reflected something real. People trusted Nokia products because they were built to last. The phone also included games like Snake, which became incredibly popular. Millions of people spent hours trying to beat their high scores. For many users, their Nokia phone was not just a communication device. It was part of daily life. By the early 2000s, Nokia stood at the top of the mobile phone industry. This market share was enormous. Its profits were growing. This brand was trusted worldwide. In some countries, it seemed as if everyone owned a Nokia phone. The company looked unstoppable. And that was exactly the problem. History teaches us that success can sometimes become dangerous. When people win for a long time, they may begin to believe they cannot lose. When companies dominate an industry, they may start ignoring warning signs. Unfortunately, that is what happened to Nokia. While Nokia celebrated its success, the technology world was changing again. A new generation of devices was emerging. These devices would not simply make calls and send messages. They would browse the internet, run applications, play videos, store photos, and eventually become small computers that fit inside a pocket. Many companies saw this future coming. Nokia saw it too, but it did not fully understand how quickly the change would happen. Then came January 2007, a moment that would change technology history forever. On a stage in California, a man named Steve Jobs introduced a product that shocked the world: the iPhone. At first, some people were not impressed. The device was expensive. It lacked some features available on existing phones, and many experts doubted it would succeed. Even inside Nokia, some leaders believed their position was secure. After all, Nokia was the king. Apple had never dominated the phone market. Why should this new device be different? But it was different. Very different. The iPhone changed how people thought about phones. Instead of physical buttons, it used a touchscreen. Instead of focusing mainly on calls and text messages, it focused on software and user experience. Felt modern, exciting, and revolutionary. Customers loved it. Soon another powerful force entered the market: Android. Developed by Google, Android allowed many manufacturers to create smartphones using the same software platform. Suddenly, competition exploded. Companies like Samsung moved aggressively into the smartphone market. The industry was changing faster than ever before. This was the moment when Nokia needed to adapt. Unfortunately, adaptation came slowly. The company still believed its existing success would continue. Many executives underestimated the smartphone revolution. Instead of moving quickly, Nokia spent valuable time defending older systems. Internal disagreements slowed decision-making. Some teams wanted major changes. Others preferred to continue with familiar strategies. As competitors moved forward, Nokia hesitated. And in technology, hesitation can be costly. The company's smartphone software struggled to compete against iPhone and Android devices. Customers began noticing the difference. The new smartphones felt smoother, more modern, more powerful. Developers focused their attention on Android and Apple's platforms. More applications appeared there. More innovation happened there. Meanwhile, Nokia started losing momentum. For years, the company had been leading the industry. Now it was trying to catch up. Sales began falling. Market share declined. Investors became worried. Employees felt pressure. The giant was no longer growing stronger. It was becoming weaker. In 2011, Nokia made a dramatic decision. The company partnered with Microsoft. Together they hoped to challenge Apple and Android. The plan sounded promising. Microsoft had resources. Nokia had experience. Perhaps together they could build a successful smartphone ecosystem. But the challenge was enormous. By then, Android and iPhone had already gained tremendous momentum. Developers were creating applications for those platforms. Customers were becoming loyal to those ecosystems. Changing consumer habits was difficult. Despite some impressive devices, Nokia's comeback never fully arrived. The market continued moving in a different direction. In 2013, Nokia made a heartbreaking decision. It sold its mobile phone business to Microsoft. For many people, it felt like the end of an era. The company that once ruled the mobile phone world was no longer in control of its own phone division. A giant had fallen. But Nokia's story does not end there. The company survived. Today, Nokia still exists and remains active in telecommunications and network technology. It continues contributing to the industry that helped make it famous. However, its days as the undisputed king of mobile phones are gone. And perhaps that is what makes this story so fascinating. Nokia did not fail because it lacked talent. It did not fail because people hated its products. It failed because the world changed faster than it expected. The company that once transformed itself from a paper mill into a technology giant struggled to transform itself again when the smartphone era arrived. That is the lesson of Nokia. Success today does not guarantee success tomorrow. No company is too big to fail. No leader can afford to stop learning. And no industry remains the same forever. The businesses that survive are the ones willing to adapt before they are forced to. Nokia's rise remains one of the greatest success stories in business history. Its fall remains one of the most important lessons in technology history. And together, they remind us that innovation never stops. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share this video with someone who remembers the famous Nokia phones. And let me know in the comments, what was your first mobile phone? Until next time, this has been Storytime History.